Hi, this is James Pickles, Fast and Safeti product owner. In this video, I'm going to talk about avoiding unnecessary duplication of data in Safeti. And this video is prompted by a support case that I recently came across. And during investigation of that support case, I noticed something about the study which meant that it wasn't set up in the most efficient way. You can see this is a copy of the study. I've anonymised the names of the vessels and the study itself. You can see that it contains a day folder containing a set of vessels, and then it contains a night folder containing a set of vessels. And then in the run rows, we have day and night run rows. And if we take a look at the setup of those run rows, we have the day run row using a set of day models, and then the night run row using a set of night models. And then each of those run rows is using a different weather. Now, if you actually look at the names of the vessels within these two folders, you can see that the names are exactly the same. So if we take a look at the first vessel here, you can see that the name of that is exactly the same as the first vessel in the night folder. And when you actually look at the data within these vessels, the data is exactly the same. So this first vessel here is using 2056 material. It's using 15.8 degrees C, 11.33 bar pressure. And then if we look at the equivalent vessel in the night folder, you can see that the data is exactly the same. The material is the same, the temperature and the pressure is the same, and the mass inventory is the same as well. And also, if you have a look at the scenarios contained within these, again, they have the same name, and the data in those scenarios is exactly the same. So this is using 25mm hole, and then this leak scenario here is also using 25mm hole. So the data is exactly the same, and therefore it's not necessary to duplicate the data in this way. Instead, what you can do is use a vessel in different run rows. So suppose that we renamed this folder to something like, we'll just call it models, and then in the run row setup, in the model selection, we can just have a set of models, a models playlist using the vessels and scenarios contained within this models study. And then we can select the same playlist for the night run row. So that now we have a day and a night run row that's using the same set of models, but it's running those models in different weather conditions, weather categories, and also different populations as well. You can see here there's a day population and a night population. And so in this new setup, you can actually delete this duplicate folder so that now we have just a smaller set of vessels and scenarios. The overall calculation time would probably not be too different, because at the end of the day it's still running the same set of calculations, and each of those run rows has their own weather folder. So the number of calculations wouldn't be any different, and therefore the overall calculation time wouldn't be too different. But actually having these extra objects does create more data in the database, because those additional vessels have to take up space in the database. So there are impacts on the database size, and also it impacts on the responsiveness of the user interface. Now, this particular study here is very small, and so there wouldn't be a noticeable difference in the responsiveness of the user interface. But imagine if this was a very large study, like for a refinery, and the user had duplicated their vessels and scenarios unnecessarily. For such a study, that would have a significant impact on the responsiveness of the user interface. So I came across this support case and I thought it was worth producing a video on, just so that other users don't have this duplication of data unnecessarily. So thank you for listening, and if you have any questions or would like to get in touch, please email digital@dmvgl.com.